You're recording.
Hello and welcome to Mr. Community. I am your cousin, Reggie Reg, and I'm very proud to say that I have two great people with me today. In the building, with me today, Mr. Community, everybody, is for one, Miss LaKisha Brown from BTG Entertainment. Welcome to the program.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, looking good today, young lady.
Thank you. I try.
Yeah.
She's doing her thing.
Great job. Yeah. Also in the building, a gentleman who I give tons of reverence to, respect, love, admiration. He's like a big brother. He's my life coach. There's so many different things that I could use to describe this gentleman. Chief Ralph Godbe, in short.
My man, Reg, you know I don't have no money, so I don't know how to pay you for that intro, bro. But man, it's all love and respect, man. Love what you do in the community here.
Absolutely. And Ralph Godbe, of course, you know him as a police chief for the city of Detroit. Some say the greatest police chief ever in the city of Detroit.
I don't know, I don't know if Jim Craig gonna agree with that. But you know what? It's just such an honor to serve. I was the 40th chief of police in the 150-year history of the department. At 42 years, youngest ever appointed to that position. So just honored to serve. So I'm among 40. So where I'm ranked, I have no idea. But I thank God for the opportunity to serve.
And you're actually also an ordained minister.
Yes,
you have
I
your
am.
own church.
Intercourt Christian Center. We're worshiping right now in Sterling Heights, Michigan, on Sundays at 2:00 p.m. And just enjoying retirement, number one. But I still have a lot of energy and a lot to give back to the community.
Awesome. So today, our topic of discussion is human trafficking. And LaKisha, we'll start with you. You had an experience with a younger sibling, I believe. Tell us that story.
It was my sister, and she was at work, and a gentleman came in, which was really weird, to place an order because she works at a fast food restaurant. But he started making advances and got to talking about her facial structure, pigmentation, the way her body was shaped, and it raised a lot of eyebrows. And this gentleman began to ask other people a lot of questions about her and began to inquire about what does she like, do she dress like that every day, just asking a lot of different questions. And he left out without getting his order, first off. And this gentleman hasn't been seen around the property before at all. And for those that don't know, a lot of the times they run in packs. It's two people. You'll see a van or a truck or two people in different vehicles or in the same vehicle. And this gentleman was with someone else. And she went to call me to tell me what was going on outside the building. And I told her to go back inside because there's no telling what would have happened. And I just thank God that she knew, okay, this is not flattery. This is something totally different. And a lot of times there's some girls that are, naive or don't understand how things work. And so they think it's flattery. They all giggly and things of that nature. But with her, it raised an eyebrow.
And so how, LaKisha, did you connect that with human trafficking is what I want to know.
Well, considering that the area that she worked in, the gentleman, they had actually cracked down on human trafficking in that area. And when we brought it up with the police department, they said that is something that they look for. That is something that they do to try and figure out who they want to approach and things of that nature. So when he said that, it kind of was like, wow, really? And he said, well, that's, how human trafficking happens. They look for certain attributes and they kidnap people.
And LaKisha is so blessed, number one, that her sister was so astute to realize that something was wrong, Reg, because it's very subtle, but they go after people that appear to be vulnerable. And if you look at fast food restaurants, you have people that are minimum wage, young ladies that may be impressed by material goods or things of that nature. So they try to prey on those that they perceive to be vulnerable. And unfortunately, a lot of young ladies may take that bait depending on where they're coming from and what their background is. And then once they get them in the lifestyle, it's the drugs. A lot of times it's heroin. They get them hooked on heroin. And that seems to be the predominant drug. It's some type of opioid. But it is just a vicious cycle. And we have to do more education. And just shout out to LaKisha for not only just recognizing what happened with her sister, but taking it to a whole different level to bring our community to an awareness about human trafficking.
And that's what it's all about. And Ralph Godbe, you, of course, former police chief of the city of Detroit. And many things happen in the city of Detroit as far as violence and crime, etc. But as far as human trafficking, in your tenure as chief of police, what do you recall?
Well, it's an international issue, but it has local ties. And what I mean by that is, it takes me back to when I was chief. There was the back page murders. Now, these young ladies, they were not underage. However, that's the kind of form and format that promotes. And there are a lot of young ladies that are on there against their will. And so that's what really brought it to my attention. Did a big piece on MSNBC about it, that they still air on MSNBC. But it really enlightened me to there's a underworld that a lot of people have no idea what's going on. And they really take advantage. A lot of these missing teenagers that never show up, that are perceived to be runaways, they might be trafficked locally. They could be trafficked internationally. I mean, you're talking about Europe, Africa, a lot of places, even to the extent to where it has ties to terrorism, ISIS, Al Qaeda, because it's an abuse and a misogyny that is so sick and perverted that it takes advantage of young ladies. And we have to be much more vigilant about letting our community know, our parents know, our older sisters like LaKisha, even, people our age, because some people are taken forcibly against their will. That's how nefarious it can be. Sometimes it's coerced, but sometimes it can be forcible. And LaKisha gave her sister excellent advice. Go back in the establishment, because if she had got hemmed up in that parking lot, God knows how this story could have ended.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, LaKisha, how is your sister today?
She's actually okay. She's doing really well. And she doesn't work there anymore. So I'm happy about that. But she's actually doing pretty well, and she will be attending the event as well.
So let's talk about the event. December 2nd?
Yes,
what
December
is it all
2nd. It's an informative meeting in regards to human trafficking to raise awareness. Luckily, I was able to get in contact with Katie down at Wayne County Safe, and Melissa Novak, which was one of the pivotal people that dealt with a lot of the human trafficking victims in Livonia. She will be speaking at the event as well. And the owner, William of Action Impact, is going to be sponsoring, and he's coming out as well. And we have the detective from the sex crimes unit at the 3rd precinct who's going to be speaking too.
Right.
So it's definitely going to be very informative. Give a lot of facts, things to look for, things to be aware of, and so forth.
Yeah.
So
And Godbe, you're going to be there as well, right?
Yes, I am.
We'll see your face in the place.
I will be in the place. I don't have a formal role, but I want to support what LaKisha is doing and give, credence to what she's talking about. And one reason why this is really big to me as well, because social media has such an impact on all of our lives.
Right.
And a lot of times as parents, we may not be paying attention to those DMs. But you have a lot of these guys that are posing with fake profiles, and they're engaging these young ladies at 13, 12, 14 years old. And, these are grown men manipulating these young ladies. If they find them in a vulnerable position where mom and dad are working, they're latchkey kids, or dad's not around in their life, they look for those type of situations to try and leverage it. They start a little, relationship through the DM. And this is a time we don't want it to go down in the DM. We really have to pay. I'm serious, man. We really got to pay attention to what our kids are doing. And, you got to watch for those changes in behavior, too. Grades start to slip.
exactly.
Moodiness, doors closed at home all of a sudden when it used to be open. Those are the kind of things that, as parents, as caregivers, as the adults in our young people's lives, we got to be those nosy parents. We got to piss them off and get on their nerves, because you could be saving that child's life. We have too many, and particularly black and brown young girls that are missing. Look at what went on in D.C. Went under the radar.
Oh, yeah.
And you're talking about a number of beautiful young queens that we cannot get our arms around where they're at. And a lot of them are in the human sex trafficking trade.
Right. And before we wrap, I want you to talk about, Ralph Godbe, the city of Detroit. Why is it that Detroit, not Philadelphia, not Atlanta, not L.A., not Houston, not New York, is top once was #1 city as
Yeah.
far as human trafficking, but still top 3 or 4. Why is that?
Well, there are a lot of different factors. Number one, we share an international border with Canada. And anytime you have any type of international commerce, unfortunately, there's a pipeline from Texas to Detroit. There's a pipeline from Detroit to Kentucky in the drug trade, the I-75 corridor. So unfortunately, with some of the economic issues in Detroit and some of the disparities with black and brown people and just access to opportunities, you're talking about huge, huge vulnerable populations. And there's another thing that we don't talk about much that impacts it. We don't have a lot of our black men intimately involved in our communities because of the over incarceration of black men.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the men that are out that have bad intentions for our community, they're going in and they are presenting a figure to these young ladies, but it is a negative father figure, and it's an abusive, it's a manipulative, and it's just a downright disgusting way to misuse our young ladies that in a lot of instances don't have the same advantages as our European counterparts.
LaKisha, insight on human trafficking, December 2nd is the event, and how might one get in touch to find out more about this event?
Well, they can give me a call. My phone number is 313-279-8313. And they can also come to the event, which is December 2nd, but it's from 12 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Located at Cleary University, which is on the corner of Woodward and Holbrook, which is connected to Little Rock Baptist Church. So if they see the Cleary sign, they know that's where we'll be. But if they would like to just give me a call, they can reach me at 313-279-8313.
Chief, how do we reach you? Somebody's listening right now.
Hey.
I remember that Chief. I remember that Chief all the time. How do I reach them?
Man, get me on social media. I have 2 Facebook pages, Ralph Godbe, page 1, page 2. Or you can get me on Instagram, Ralph Godbe, DPD Top Cop 40. Ralph Godbe, DPD Top Cop 40. Answer my DMs. LaKisha tell you I don't mess with them crazy DMs, but when it's something serious for our community and you need to hit me up, I'm going to be there.
It ain't going down like that.
It ain't going down like that.
Yeah, right. Now your deal. All right, hey, I want to thank the two of you for joining me today. LaKisha Brown, thank you so much. BTG Entertainment.
Yes.
To you and your sibling, we love you guys. Appreciate you coming by today. And Ralph Godbe, you know I love you, brother.
Love you, brother.
Like a brother.
Assalamu alaikum, my brother.
You already know.
Yes, sir.
So that's been Mr. Community for today. I'm your host, Reggie Davis. Thanks for listening, Detroit. Love you. God bless.